I've spent a lot of my life scared of the fact that one day I will die. One of the very first videos I made was about this exact subject. I feel like I give too much weight to this momentary droplet in the ocean that is time. How can one fleeting moment that hasn't even happened yet taint my whole existence? For 28 years, I haven't been able to find peace on my own. So I looked to two of the most prominent spiritual leaders of our time, the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Desmond Tutu, to see if they had anything to say. In a conversation recorded in the Book of Joy, these two religious leaders shared their thoughts about death. I found temporary comfort in Archbishop Tutu's words. I should say that for a very long time, the thought of my demise was something that brought a great deal of anxiety. It was nice to hear that even a man so close to God could be scared of death. But those words weren't enough to wipe my fear away. I decided I needed to look death right in the eye. Thankfully, the Dalai Lama seemed to have a plan for that. It's important that in our daily meditation practice, we continue to think about our own mortality. You should reflect on this and visualize the process of death. So I wrote down the Dalai Lama's daily death meditation, which I took from the Book of Joy, and I'm going to do it for the next week. The meditation consists of 6 reflection points, each relating in some way to death. I don't know if I'll be talking about all of them. It's possible I'll only be talking about 1 or 2 of them in my reflections. I don't really know. I'm not going to force anything. So that was day 1. You could probably see in the time lapse that I got up and disappeared for a while. I went to grab my phone and some headphones. There's been a lot of construction going on right outside my apartment, and it was just too loud for me to be able to concentrate. And so I put on some Thai spa music, and it helped a little bit cancel out the noise. I think tomorrow, day 2, what I'm gonna do is try to do this at night and have some peace and quiet because the construction stops at night. So I really like this meditation. I like how it's broken down into 6 different steps. It really feels like a guided meditation in that sense. Some of the points I felt like I could really get into. So anything that has a birth has a death, and I'm no exception. This was actually a really nice one. I started imagining a flower growing up out of the dirt and then wilting. I imagined the earth coming into existence, and then eventually the earth will no longer exist at some point. I'm not alone in going through this process of coming into being and ceasing to be. The next one was really hard for me to swallow. There are many conditions that can lead to death. Death can never be stopped. Nothing can prevent the inevitable. I literally just went through so many different ways that you can die. Some of which are just so comedically absurd and tragic, like crossing a street and getting hit by a bus or falling off of a roof. And it was just like this rapid fire of images of these ways of people dying. So I think this point actually made me quite nervous, which I don't know if that's what it's supposed to do. I think the point of this meditation is like, come to peace with your death. So maybe it had the opposite effect for me. I don't know. But that's okay. I'm just following my mind, and I'm really trying not to force anything. So if nervous is what I was, then so be it. It's day 1. We'll see how things change over the course of the next couple of days. I tried to do a meditation last night. It just didn't work. I was way too tired. It was 12:30 a.m. when I sat down to do the meditation, and the only thing I could think about was wanting to go to sleep, and I couldn't get into it at all. So I said, that's okay. I'll just do it during the day. If there's noise, then I just deal with it. Today was different from day 1 because I didn't have so many images popping into my head. Today was more of a feeling that came over me throughout the meditation. But I remember with the first meditation feeling really just like accepting of, okay, yeah, I had a birth and I'm gonna have a death just like everything else. At one point I smiled and I remember that moment and thinking, wow, I'm just like really content and accepting of, that is my fate. I think that's where I want to get, to be able to smile about it, about the fact that I am a part of a cycle. I want to strive to be able to think about death that way, where it can almost put a smile on my face. I don't know yet how to get there permanently, but hey, these are new thoughts and these are new feelings, and I'm liking this so far. Today's meditation was probably my worst day so far. It's nighttime. I did this now at night, but it's much earlier than the other time I attempted to do it at night. It's about 10:30 right now, so I'm not too sleepy. I was able to concentrate. It's just that I was really breaking off the script today. What I ended up imagining was me lying on my deathbed, wherever that is, just lying down, and me trying to envision and feel what it's like to leave Earth, to realize in that moment that you're leaving a place you've existed in for X number of years. Not just you're leaving, but you're never coming back. And that's a hard thought. It's a forever goodbye. It was a little bit too scary, I think, to look at and to keep envisioning. And so I cut my meditation a little bit shorter than I probably would have liked to. I was honestly just anxious to get it over with because I didn't want to think about that anymore. Today really felt like a pivotal day for me in this meditation. There's a portion of the meditation, which I mentioned earlier, which asks you to reflect on the inevitability of death and the several different ways that death can happen. If you remember on day 1 or day 2, I had talked about how this portion of the meditation actually made me more anxious about death. But today I feel like I unlocked the purpose of this portion of the meditation. It made sense for me today. I think the purpose of reflecting on the inevitability of death is to sort of reprogram your mind to see death as commonplace and something that you should expect that could happen at any moment of any day. And that should be my modus operandi. Like, I shouldn't be surprised if I ever find myself in a life-endangering situation. And it made me think about how I operate now, which is the complete opposite. I operate as if, I'm meant to live, I need to live, and death is far away. But this way of operating actually keeps me in fear. To give an example, to this day, anytime I get on an airplane, I'm still really nervous, despite having flown a lot of times already in my life. If I were able to adopt a new modus operandi, where I expect death to happen at any point of any day, then in theory I shouldn't be scared of riding an airplane anymore, right? This was a very exciting discovery because I have a really concrete picture of the direction that I need to start thinking in. And I think the question now becomes, okay, well, how do I get to that point? How do I get to the point where I operate almost subconsciously, thinking that, okay, I should expect to die in any moment? It seems really hard to get there. And I don't have the answer. I don't know how. Maybe it's just keep doing what I'm doing with this death meditation, because it's already brought me this far in just 4 days. So yeah, this is really exciting to see how this meditation has already moved me in a good direction in my relationship to death. I didn't even finish the meditation today. I got to point number 4, and then a new thought started to take over. So yesterday I talked about how I need to change my modus operandi to expect death at any moment, and that should be my norm. And so that's what I started thinking about in the middle of today's meditation. And I started repeating to myself, I should expect death to come at any moment. I should expect death to come at any moment. Not a lot of feelings came up for me today during the meditation. But again, that's okay. I think a really important aspect of all of this is not to force anything and to just let my mind take me wherever it takes me. And I'm saying this because I want to be completely honest about the meditation, right? I don't want to manicure something just for the sake of making a video. I think it's kind of laying the groundwork, the mental groundwork for me to be able to think more vividly about my death. And so at this stage, and I know it's only been 5 days, I don't feel comfortable saying yet that this meditation has like prepared me for death. You know, it could take a lot longer. But I still am happy with the direction it's taken me, even in just 5 days. And we got 2 more days left. So we'll see where I end up in 2 days. That's it for today. I wasn't moved emotionally today, but I had more new thoughts pop up. So in the first meditative point where you reflect on the fact that you have a birth and you have a death and you're no exception, I started to think about ideas. Up until now, I had always focused on things that are living, but today I thought of ideas and how ideas have a birth and a death. And then I thought, hey, if that's true, then maybe my fear of death falls into that category. Maybe it had a birth at some point in my life and I'm working towards its death. Then I started thinking, well, I don't know. I think that's going to take a little bit more digging into my past to figure out where that came from. Off the top of my head, I think a lot of it has to do with religion, because religions talk about death a lot. The other part of me, though, wonders if fear of death is something that's inherent to being human. At this point, it's a little bit hard to decipher. And yeah, other than that, I think that's it. I'm gonna keep this short today. Can't believe it's already day 6 and I have 1 more day left. Part of me feels like 7 days is not enough. So maybe I'll make another video at some point in time sharing my progress. My hope is to keep doing this. No big discoveries today. It was a very, I think, neutral day. I didn't struggle with the meditation. I didn't get too deep into it. But I think what's important here is that I keep going, and I'm already starting to feel that it's developing into a habit after 7 days. I'm glad that I said yes to a potential solution for a problem that I have been struggling with for a long time. Saying yes is one of the best things I can do for myself to take me out of a state that I don't like and into a state that I want to get to, which is to no longer fear death. I hope I've been honest enough to communicate that it's probably not going to be a solution overnight. Again, is it working right now? I can't say that I'm completely unafraid of death. But again, this has set me on the right path.